Have you ever wondered where your favorite video games came from? It's not just about flashy graphics and complex stories. The journey of video games is an epic tale of innovation, competition, and pure fun. So, grab your controller and let's press start on a journey through time, all the way back to the very beginning. Our story begins not in a garage in Silicon Valley, but in a physics lab in the 1950s. Long before anyone dreamed of a PlayStation or Xbox, scientists were creating simple games on massive, room-sized computers. One of the earliest examples was a game called Tennis for Two, created in 1958 by physicist William Higginbotham. It was played on an oscilloscope, a device you'd normally see measuring electrical signals. It was incredibly simple, just a bouncing dot of light and two lines for paddles. But it was a sensation at the lab's open house. For the first time, people were interacting with an electronic screen for pure entertainment. This was the spark. Fast forward to the 1960s and the rise of university computer labs. At MIT, a group of students, including the legendary Steve Russell, created Space War on a PDP-1 computer. This wasn't just a bouncing dot. It featured two-player controlled spaceships, complete with torpedoes and a gravity-pulling star in the center. Space War became a phenomenon within the early computer science community, passed around from university to university. It proved that games could be complex, strategic, and incredibly engaging. But these games were tied to gigantic, expensive machines. The next step was to bring the fun home. That's where the 1970s come in, the decade that truly ignited the video game revolution. In 1972, a company called Magnavox released the Odyssey, the world's first home video game console. It was primitive, using plastic overlays on the TV screen to create different game scenes, but it was a start. However, the real game changer arrived that same year. A young engineer named Nolan Bushnell, who had played Space War. In college, founded a little company called Atari. Their first product? An arcade game called Pong. Pong was pure, addictive simplicity. Two paddles, one ball. You've probably played some version of it. It was an instant smash hit in bars and arcades across America. The demand was so high that Atari's first machines were breaking down because their coin boxes were overflowing with quarters. Pong's success proved there was a massive commercial market for video games. Atari quickly followed up with a home version of Pong, and suddenly, video games were a fixture in living rooms everywhere. The late 70s became a gold rush. Companies sprouted up, creating all sorts of arcade hits. In 1978, Tato's Space Invaders landed from Japan, causing a nationwide coin shortage there. It introduced the concept of a high score, a simple but brilliant idea that fueled competition and kept players coming back for more. Then, in 1980, another Japanese creation, Pac-Man, took the world by storm. Unlike the sci-fi shooters before it, Pac-Man appealed to everyone. It was colorful, had a cute character, and was the first game to feature a true maze and power-ups. It became a cultural icon with merchandise, a cartoon, and even a hit song. The home console market was also exploding, led by the Atari 2600. For the first time, you could swap cartridges to play different games on one system. From Adventure, which laid the groundwork for action-adventure games, to Pitfall. A precursor to modern platformers, the Atari 2600 offered a universe of experiences, but the gold rush got out of control. The market was flooded with terrible, rushed games. The most infamous example was E.T. the Extraterrestrial, a game so bad that millions of unsold copies were famously buried in a New Mexico landfill. This led to the great video game crash of 1983. Confidence plummeted, stores stopped stocking games, and it looked like the video game fad might be over. But then a hero emerged from Japan, Nintendo, in 1985. They cautiously released the Nintendo Entertainment System, or NES, in North America. They were so worried about the crash that they even marketed it as a toy, complete with a robot companion called ROB, but the real star was the game packed in with the system, Super Mario Bros. This wasn't just a game. It was a masterpiece of design. The vibrant worlds, the responsive controls, the secret warp zones, it was a quantum leap forward. Shigeru Miyamoto, its creator, became a living legend. The NES single-handedly revived the home console market and established Nintendo as the new king of gaming. The late 80s and early 90s saw the first great console war, Nintendo versus Sega. While Nintendo had Mario, Sega had a new hero with an attitude, Sonic the Hedgehog. The Sega Genesis, or Mega Drive, was marketed as the cooler, faster, more grown-up console. This rivalry pushed both companies to innovate, leading to an incredible era of 16-bit classics, from The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo, to Streets of Rage on the Genesis. This period cemented many of the genres we still love today: role-playing games, fighting games like Street Fighter II, and platformers. Then came the next big leap, the third dimension. The mid-90s saw the transition from 2D sprites to 3D polygons. While systems like the Atari Jaguar and Sega Saturn stumbled, a newcomer changed everything in 1995, the Sony PlayStation. With its CD-ROM format, it offered massive game worlds and cinematic cutscenes that were impossible on cartridges. Games like Final Fantasy VII showed that video games could tell deep, emotional stories, while Metal Gear Solid pioneered stealth gameplay and cinematic direction. At the same time, the Nintendo 64 gave us Super Mario 64, which wrote the rulebook for 3D platforming and camera control, and The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, still considered by many to be one of the greatest games ever made. The 2000s kicked off the modern era of gaming. Microsoft entered the fray with the Xbox, bringing with it a game that would define online console gaming: Halo Combat Evolved. The PlayStation 2 became the best-selling console of all time, with a library so vast it had something for everyone. And Nintendo, once again, reinvented the game with the Wii in 2006. Its motion controls brought in a whole new audience of casual players, from kids to grandparents who had never picked up a controller before. This decade also saw the rise of PC gaming with platforms like Steam and massively multiplayer online games like World of Warcraft, creating vast, persistent online worlds for millions of players. And that brings us to today. Gaming is more diverse and accessible than ever. We have photorealistic graphics on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series 10, the hybrid portability of the Nintendo Switch, and the rise of indie games that constantly push creative boundaries. We have virtual reality that immerses us completely, and cloud gaming that lets us play high-end titles on our phones. Games are no longer just a hobby. They are a dominant form of entertainment, a social platform, and a powerful medium for storytelling. From a simple bouncing dot in a lab to sprawling, photorealistic virtual worlds, the evolution of video games has been an incredible journey. It's a story of technology, creativity, and the simple human desire to play. What started as a curiosity for a few scientists has become a global culture connecting billions of people. So, the next time you power on your console or PC, take a moment to appreciate the decades of innovation that made it possible. Thanks for joining me on this trip down memory lane. What was the first game you ever played? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our next adventure. See you next time.